It's the Line Makers on Sporting News, presented by Jack Daniels. Gearing up for the Monday Night Football game. Should be a good one in the AFC West, fellas. With Rick Aaron and Richie Becciolari, I'm Brian Blessing. Denver at San Diego. Now the Chargers opened up 3 below the key number. It's down to 2 now. And a pretty healthy jump to the under. 51 the opener. We're seeing 48.5s out there. Richie, why don't you start with the number, basically starting it out on a key number and down below now.
First thing is, as long as Kenny ain't doing the piece with us, I can smoke, and I like that a lot. You guys smoke too. From the bookmaking perspective, when the game opens 3 and immediately shoots down to 2.5 to 2, the bookmakers aren't afraid to keep moving that number, because anything less than 3, typically you're going to see dead numbers. And as long as Peyton Manning is in the game, that's where the money's going to go.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that's where the money's going to go, Rich, and I think that it may go lower. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw the game go to pick 'em at kickoff, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at the Broncos at 2 and 3, they played the Steelers, they played at Atlanta, they played Houston, the 2 undefeated teams, and they played New England. So if you throw out the Raiders, the opponents that the Broncos have played are 15 and 4 on the year. On the other side, if you look at San Diego, they played Tennessee, Oakland, Kansas City, and lost to the 0 and 4 Saints. So if you throw out their game at Atlanta, which they lost 27 to 3, their opponents are 4 and 15. Exactly the opposite.
Yeah, we marveled at that at the outset of the season. There was so much money on Denver to win the Super Bowl and on their season win totals, and we're like, listen, the jury was out on Manning, and he's been fine, but the Giants have the toughest schedule in the league, and Denver has the second toughest schedule in the league. The one thing, though, from a trend perspective, with the exception of the game with the Raiders, Denver's been playing from behind all season long, Richie. They've got to sort that out.
Yeah, they have. Manning has had some really poor starts. He had the 3 picks in the 1 quarter. They're starting out slow. They're trying to fight from behind. It's hard to do that in this league, and he's having problems with it. I'm wondering if he signed this contract with Denver before the schedule came out, because it doesn't get any easier for him. And I think if he saw the schedule, he might be in Miami right now.
If he saw the schedule, he might be. But I think this is a big game for both teams, specifically because both teams are on a bye next week. Okay, so Denver goes in there and wins. They're tied for the division. They hold the tiebreakers in the division against the Chargers. If the Chargers win their 2 games up in the division on the Broncos going into the bye week next week, I think it's a big game for both teams.
Well, it's a big game, and the move to the under kind of makes sense. You get the grass field. Rivers threw it all over the place. They moved the ball. They scored against the bad Saints defense, came up short. But this is a division game, guys, and when you get into that division mode and that familiarity, it raises that intensity level.
Yeah, absolutely, and 51 was a very high total. Down to 48.5. That's a pretty good move, 2.5 points in a few days. Last year, I know down in they played 16-13 last year in one of the 2 games. I'm not sure what the other one was, but it does figure to be a football game. And in a football game, they run the ball. They want ball control, possession. Less points, more field goals, better red zone defense.
And Ryan Matthews looked pretty good.
He looks like he's getting healthy again. But one stat on the game, and both teams did win on the road last year, but that was without Peyton Manning. Okay, and this stat also, the Chargers have won 5 of the last 6. They're 5-1 against the spread the last 6 meetings. Again, that was against Tim Tebow and Kyle Orton, the 5 of the last 6. So I think Peyton Manning makes a big difference, and I agree with the move on the side and the total.
Let me just ask final question though, Richie. If you want to just take it, it's down to 2. Does it ever get back to 3?
No, like Ricky was saying, it's going to keep dropping. There's going to be nothing but Peyton Manning money in this game. That's it's one of the reasons why I'd probably lean to San Diego. It gets close to the game time, you're going to see the low number, and I'm going to probably make a little pop on them. And who knows? It could be destined that Manning comes back. He's got the tough schedule, and he has a very poor year, not necessarily statistically, but from the win-loss standpoint.
For Rick Aaron, Rich Becciolari, I'm Brian Blessing. Should be a good Monday night game. It's Denver and San Diego.